The chat is alive, Stevie P. The chat is alive. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to go straight into it because everybody's eager. You're eager. I'm eager. It's 2022, first ever episode. Let's go.
You are listening to the Milan Weekly Podcast, the English voice of Radio Rossonera and Milan fans all over the world.
Rafael Leao produces a moment of utter magic.
Che sì, ed è gol!
Teo Hernandez al volo! Teo Hernandez, ancora lui, una meraviglia! Ibrahimovic! Zlatan Ibrahimovic, fuori classe assoluto!
We're back. Cari amici sportivi, welcome to yet another edition of the Milan Weekly Podcast. Here we talk everything Milan, a 6.6 goals Milan, and chi non salta romanista e Milan, and well, we're not professionals.
Nor do we pretend to be.
Welcome, Stevie P, Vinny T, always here faithfully not every single Monday. It's been, a couple of weeks off here to talk everything Milan. Everybody's eager. Hope you guys all had a great holiday. Stevie P, how about you? Great, some 2 weeks vacation, took some time off. How's everything? Even though we're in confinement here, it's freaking cold. Tomorrow, minus 35 degrees. But hey, we're here. We're here to have fun. We're here to talk about Milan.
Yeah, good time off, good time spending with the family, holidays. This whole pandemic stuff that's getting a little bit old now. I'm starting to get a little bit fed up, but hey, we spend the time with the family, enjoy the holidays, a little bit of calcio, and we're back on Monday.
There we go. And a little shout out to first, happy birthday, Gattuso. It was his birthday yesterday. Ugora Calabrese, Ugora Rossonero, happy birthday to him. And a shout out to yesterday, Steve. Fabio wanted to get together just to talk between the Patreon members. We just got on, didn't record anything. And our friend Gio, Steve, up at 3 o'clock in the morning, he was there. And he stayed on until he stayed awake until 2 a.m. or something, our time. I don't know what time it was, but you guys took over with football talk.
He stayed awake to watch his Raiders make the playoffs. That's what he did.
That's what he did. So on a side note, those housekeeping, guys, because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Now, Steve, before we get into it, some people are asking this thumbnail, right? What does this thumbnail mean, or where does it come from? What is this emblem? Please explain, because this was a something coming out of your creative genius. Please explain to everybody.
Yeah, so there's actually, guys, the Tears of Roma. Guys, there's you could actually buy Tears of Roma. And I found this so entertaining, guys, because that's all we heard, and I know we're no disrespect to Venezia and the game that we played this past weekend, but the Roma game, guys, created all kinds of tears. All the Romanisti from all parts just crying, trying to find some way to explain why they got destroyed by Milan.
And we're going to get into how they got destroyed by Juventus. But, so yes, Tears of Roma, guys. Check it out. Maybe you could buy some on eBay. But always
send it to a friend. If you have a Romanista friend, send him Tears of Roma.
And Stevie P, I wanted to introduce everybody to another one of your fantastic creations. And, our friend, David Fanta, as you like to call him, he likes to talk about the Scudetto bus. Now, you on the counterpart, I come out with your own emblem, and it's called the Pain Train, right? The Pain Train, Steve, this is the train that one wagon has COVID patients, one wagon has infirmary. Please explain this Pain Train that we have to go through.
Yeah, so we have the leader. We have Kajar. He's gonna be out till next year. He's the conductor of that bus, the train. Uh, so, guys, it's just basically something to put it out there to all the rest of the fan bases who are crying and this and that and about losing players to COVID and so on and so forth. We were late to the game. I'll give you the honest truth. Myself, Vinny, Presidente, Sunny, this train would have had 3 cars
Yeah.
plus the conductor's car. But you have to understand, like you're missing some key pieces. So against Roma, and that's another addition to why I wanted to really harp on the Roma tiers, where Milan was fielding a team that was not the strongest that we can field. And this has been something that Milan has had gone through for quite a bit of time where, due to injury, due to COVID, we're not fielding the strongest team. And, a little bit of luck is needed. And Milan did
Obviously.
have some luck. But against Roma, guys, they really, really played well. And I'm going to single out 2 guys who we both put at least Gabbia. I put him to
L-
the ringer.
Let me let me
Frank,
put up
put
the
up the
graphic for now.
that
But Steve, a
graphic.
little side note. You know who the first person in the last car is that you can't see the picture? That's John Cena,
John Cena.
because you can't see him.
You can't see him.
Get it? Yeah, that was a bad one. So let me see here. Let's bring up the Roma graphic. And Stevie P, you wanted to talk about the odd couple, the other guys. As somebody put up a nice graphic there of at the beginning we heard the day before about the COVID situation with Romagnoli, with Tomori, and who's the other third player that got
I think
COVID?
it's Calabria, no? They got
Calabria,
COVID.
sorry. So Gabi and Kalulu coming in, we're playing Roma. Okay, they haven't had the greatest season, but it's still Roma, it's still Mourinho. And let me ask you, I know you wanted to give them praise, but at the beginning, seeing the starting lineup the way it was, how did it make you feel, especially going up against Roma?
Look, I wasn't. It's not easy. We just named 3 of our 4 starting defenders.
Yeah.
So it's not and it's not something that you want to go into a game with Roma where they need a result. Milan needs to keep up with Inter, and you're decimated by injuries and pandemic of COVID. So was I confident? No, but I was really hoping that we would have a good game. I was hoping that these players would step up and fill those positions, and want to show Pioli that hey, we can play, So,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna give praise to both Gabbia and Kalulu because it's not easy to step into a game like that where the pressure's on, not only to get a result, but the pressure's on because you're taking 2 starting positions. And I think they played well with a Roma team who has proven in the past that hey, once they get into space, they are dangerous. Tammy Abraham, unfortunately, he doesn't have too much service, but when he's in the box, he's something to
It's
watch.
dangerous, right? And
He's dangerous. So, but besides that, Roma was just absolute garbage.
they were bad, Steve. They were really bad. And let's I'm with you with how Kalulu and Gambi have been playing. We're going to talk about the Verona game, but let's not take anything away from Mike Mangione. He stood on his head several times in the second half, came and saved the defense there, especially 4 players coming out of trying to gel for their first time. But Mike Mangione, as you like to call him, definitely kept us in this game here. And another chapeau, as we like to say here in Quebec, to Thierry Hernandez, because we've been harsh on him, rightfully so. Hasn't had the greatest of runs the last couple of months, and it just looked like that captain's armband. He just seemed like a completely different player. Even Tonali was a beast, but even Krunic, we like to laugh at Krunic, but dude, he did his job. he's asked to go play in that position. He did what he needed to do. Sausage maker, better than usual. The Verona wasn't that great, but in this game, he did what he needed to
Venezia,
do.
Venezia, not Verona.
Venezia, sorry. So it was just a great performance, but Roma did nothing. And hold on a second, sorry, Steve. We bought the refs because everything went our way. By the way, I don't know who the referee was that game, but I find he refereed a fantastic game, especially when there was a couple of scuffles there in the, I think it was in 35th, 40th minute with Tio Hernandez, and he just made sure, no, this is it. We're going to stop it right there. Awarded cards when he needed to award cards. I find he did a great job. But Roma, I don't know what they were crying about. And even Mourinho was like, okay, Mourinho, I got offered 3 years ago, and I'm happy that, okay, you decide to say this like after that you lost to Milan. But Mourinho's Mourinho. I didn't take it that bad. But still a great team performance, right? And Roma had nothing, Steve, nothing.
No, we let them actually back into the game when they were able to pull one back before the half. I think that was a little bit of a letdown. But besides that, I think that they did great. I think they did really well with, pressing Roma and giving Roma a lot of difficulties in the midfield. Roma's midfield was very bad. They didn't have any solutions for our makeshift Milan midfield. But these are the games that a Milan side from the banter years would lose.
Oh yeah,
we would lose it. And we've always said here that there's always a cycle, right? And right now, especially after this week's results, it looks like Roma's in this cycle. Nothing can go right for Roma.
no, definitely not. And did you have anything to add to this game? Yeah, I know it happens the last week, but we love it especially when you see these Romanistas online and just it reminds me of especially what they did against the Juventus. It just reminds me of the good old Milan of 7-8 years ago, where we had to go through all this kind of stuff. But
yeah, and again, unfortunately, Roma also got royally screwed by the financial fair play, because they were one of the teams, of course, with Inter and Milan, who got punished severely for financial fair play and had to make some money moves, which were not replaced adequately for them to continue on their run. And the previous ownership didn't do them any favors. I'm not making excuses for them, but guys, as Roma fans, you're crying to Milan fans when Milan fans have gone through 10 plus years of absolute shit.
Yep.
Of absolute shit, listening to you guys, prance around and how, dominant you guys have been and how you've been in Serie A, but in the end, you've won absolutely shit fuck all. You have a fucking bonsai tree in your trophy cabinet, and you're complaining to Milan fans who've suffered for 10 plus years, fake owner, stupid signings,
It's
Crimea River, guys.
You want to talk about what the penalty on that Tammy Abraham? Look, his arm went out, right? Was it a penalty 50-50, but his arm went out? But then Krunic gets taken out in the box, breaks the guy's nose, but that doesn't get called. So they just seem to see what they want to see. And in the end, Roma, you didn't get robbed. You just weren't good enough. That is it, and that is all. Just take it and eat it, just the way we had to take it and eat it for all those years. And it fucking hurt, Steve. It did hurt that we had to swallow our pride. And we weren't good enough. We weren't good enough. And we were always the first ones to say we weren't good enough, right? Because it's $3 billion. That was crazy to see that spending that they had. But anything you want to add until, because we're going to talk about Roma again once we get into the scores of the week. But anything to add before we get into against Venezia?
No, we're good. The Roma game was a great 3 points.
Definitely a great 3 points. So we're looking at the game against Venezia. Ibra 2 minutes in, right, and it just seemed that okay, this is going to be one of these games we need to make another convincing win. formation Bakayoko starting. I know a lot of people were grunting. It's Bakayoko. He hasn't played that well. Maybe once or twice Steve gave up the ball cheaply, but he had a much better performance in this game than he had in the past ones. I don't know how you felt about
I know, but I'm
Bakayoko.
still not convinced. Not against Venezia. I
Okay.
saw some of the. I watched the game. Still not impressed. Still, this is not someone that's brand new, right? This is not someone who has never played in Serie A.
Mhm.
This is not someone who hasn't played at Milan. So he understands the commitment and what we need. Now we really need him to step up.
Hmm.
And I think that his game is subpar. Now, this is typical Milan Twitter and Milan fans. We're on a good run. We had a good performance against Roma. We had a good performance against Venezia away. Tough games are going to be coming now. So, yeah, I want to ride the high, but I want to tell people exactly how we should be managing our expectations. And this cannot be something where we say, oh, we don't need to address anything in the Mercato this winter for us to make that title push. I want to know from management, from Elliot, are we serious? Do we want to make a title push? And the Mercato and what we do in the Mercato will be my deciding factor on whether I get on this Scudetto bus or I don't.
And a Scudetto contender team, Steve, games against teams like Venezia, you're not expected, but yeah, it should be normal to win. That 2-0, 3-0, and even with a depleted team the way we were, and looking at Tio with 2 goals, Ibra scoring at the very early. Even for our friends at Milan Posts, right? If you would have to vote your top and flop, right? Who would you go with top and flop on this game?
For me, I think, again, unfortunately, it's against Venezia.
Hmm.
And, I I understand that we're gonna get performances like that from Tio Hernandez. I need him to have that type of performance against an Inter, a Juve, something that builds on his consistency. The Venezia 2 goal games, like great. I'm all for that. It's
Good
fine.
morale boost, right?
Yeah, but he needs to build the consistency. He needs to be able to play an intelligent game where he's going to mature as a back, as a left back, in his decision making in the final third, where in games against an Inter, a Juve, you're not gonna have those types of chances. He won't make those. They're going to catch up to those blistering runs on the left hand side. So it would be easy for me to pick Tio Hernandez here because of the 2 goals.
Mhm.
But for me, the person who made that engine run against Venezia and kind of calmed things down when he needed to and pushed when he needed to is Tonali. I think Tonali had a very good game against Venezia. Uh, you don't have to always be on the stat sheet to be the top of the match.
Oh,
That's
Tonali.
that's that's just what I like to tell everybody, is that if you watch the game and you're looking for specific things and what people do off the ball, Tonali had a really nice game.
I'm gonna have to go on this one. A little side mention to Florenzi, who has had 2 fantastic games back to back. But for me, it's got to be Leao. The way the way he is speed, Steve. Just the way he speeds up. He seems a lot more serious. He's his body language is a lot more. We referred to body language last year, when we were shitting on him, mostly you, no offense, but I just see
No, it is true.
a completely different
But in
player.
the end, was I right?
Of course, no, 100%.
No,
I
but that's
never.
that's those people that continuously harped on the fact that I was tough on him are nowhere to be seen now.
Yeah, we went from 1,000 views to 600. You see, those are people. They have to
Yeah,
come back.
those are
They
the
have to
ones
come
that
back.
left. But it's the honest truth. Like, if we tell you that he looks good when in reality he doesn't look good, are we really doing this for the fun of it, or are we just doing it for clicks and views?
Yeah.
To be very honest, I couldn't care about the clicks and views. For me, it's to entertain the people that want to be on live with us every Monday night, or the people who are going to listen to us in their car or while they're doing a workout, whatever the hell they want to listen to us. But say, hey, you know what? It's a different take. He makes a bit of sense. I don't agree, but I could see some
Where
the
he's
other
coming
side
from.
the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
And am I gonna be right 100% of the time? No, absolutely not. But sometimes that's just what you need. You need to become a little bit more serious, and you need to mature. And I think he's matured enough to make a complete difference and not be what we had called him. He was on the path of being a Niang 2.0. I
Yeah.
saw a lot of tweets this week about people who had labeled him as a Niang 2.0. In reality, guys, I know a lot of people didn't disagree, but he doesn't shape up, and he doesn't get serious and have this type of season. And not only this, it's not over yet, guys. We need more consistency.
Yeah.
And he was heading that way of the Niang 2.0.
Oh, 100%. And, consistency, hope it continues. How about a flop, Steve? I don't know if we're on the same page on this
Salchicha
one.
Maker was terrible.
I was going to go with
Salchicha Maker
Diaz.
was not very good.
I was going to go with Diaz because I think it's just been Sausage Maker have been on him for several games. But Diaz, Steve, it's been since he came back from that COVID, we haven't seen the Diaz of, from that game last year against Juventus and scoring that goal, like, making up that space or taking up the ball. I don't know what's going on. I was going to tell you what you need to hear, what do you want to hear. But yeah, so those two, right? So Diaz and Salamakers, for me, definitely Diaz. These are the kind of situations where, you have a depleted team. You need these guys to step up, right? Especially with the investment that we made in him. But Sausage Maker as well, Steve. 1A, 1B, would probably say.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on the Sausage Maker?
And I thought after Roma, Diaz didn't have the best of games. But I saw that, he was a little bit more involved, and he was a little bit more in dangerous positions. He got a shot off the crossbar. It's not enough, but you could build off some performance like that. But then you go to Venezia, and you have a worse off performance.
It's
so now it's not physical talent that we're talking about anymore. We're talking about mentally, he's lost his mojo. He's lost his confidence at the worst possible fucking time. Let me tell you that much.
And we need him. We need him to come out and play especially when these are the time of games where you expect these people to turn it around, and we still manage to win. But how long is that going to last, right, Steve? So
I don't know. That's why I'm really interested in knowing what the direction management and Elliot are going to take when it comes to the winter mercato, because there's obviously my favorite, the fucking right wing. Now we've added to that potentially a number 10 and a CB.
We shall see. Because
wrong one there. Ramiz. I hope I mispronounced the name, but you know that I always do that. A number 10 and a CB for me. Yeah, for me, we have to add the right wing there too. We're not going to get all three. So I'm happy with two of the three. Center back. Center back now, guys. I'm not saying that it's, we played a really shit Roma and we played a Venezia that's not up to par. So Gabbia and Kalulu, to be very frank with everybody, I have more confidence in Kalulu getting better than Gabbia getting better as that number 3 center back. Is it enough? I don't think so, guys. I don't think so.
We'll definitely see. Mercato Madness, Steve, is your favorite season of the year. So I'm not
It's
sure the
starting to
notification.
bubble. It's
It's starting to
starting to
bubble. I'm
bubble.
sure we'll have a nice graphic next week with about 17 players, and we'll be able to talk about that one. Stevie P, you know what time it is, obviously.
Yeah, I was looking for mine.
I got you beat. So La Trompetta is back. It's Serie A. Here we go with the Steve. I think in on Sunday the whole Spanish league, La Liga. I think there was like 6 goals in 6 games or something like that. And look at Serie A; it's so boring, right? There's no goals in Serie A. Starting with Udinese, 6-2 win. Atalanta taking over Udinese. Now they're talking about the whole COVID thing because I don't know. We got to believe what we see in the newspapers, but I think the ruling has been if you have 11 players within your U team and your Serie A
13.
team,
No, isn't it
13,
13?
13, 13, or anybody correct us in the comments. But in the end, Udinese was not going to beat Atalanta on this day, right, Steve?
No, Udine was not going to beat Atalanta in this day, but it's good that you mentioned that because that's. I'm pretty sure I have a couple of indigestions this week, but that's one of my indigestions, and I'm happy that it happens here at the Squilla di Trompe. The goddamn Serie A can't get their fucking rules straight. This was comical, guys. This was comical. This was from a league that is hemorrhaging money. This is from a league that cannot keep its top stars. This is from a league where the first place, the Scudetto winner, will get less prize money than the relegation team of the EPL. This is from a league that will not want to get out of the 1900s. And unfortunately, this is a league that does not care about its players. Let's face it. It does
The
not care.
other thing that don't make any sense now. Supposedly, what the next couple of weeks, 5,000 in the stadiums, a maximum of people.
Yeah, but the reducing of the fans, you know what? They're gonna make the decisions. That's fine.
Yeah,
But this here, especially the Napoli game from last week,
hmm
where Napoli was magically able to suit up Zitliski, and then magically right after the game he had COVID.
yeah. No, there's a lot of things that didn't
So
make
I'm
any
not I'm
sense.
not pinpointing Naples because to be very honest, you, I don't know how Napoli fielded a team. They were decimated in terms of injuries, and you guys know I'm just as hard on Napoli as I am for on Roma. So for me to defend Napoli, there's obviously a problem. The problem is Serie A. And it's sad where no one knew what the hell was going on. My reliable source to what was going on is Nima.
Hmm.
Because he's the only one, he's an Interista, he's a garden snake, but he's the only one who's able to make a
Sensible.
very complicated situation very easy to digest. And we didn't know what was happening. And there, the health minister of Italy said you can fly. And Inter basically took a train ride to Bologna last week to get off the train, warm up, get back on the train, and go get ready for this week's game against Lazio.
And they still haven't decided if it's a Tavolino, if it's
Yeah,
a.
I don't know. I don't know. Also, I'm gonna give shout out to Jacopone Ale, who came up with a fantastic graphic, which we retweeted, and it basically had the Inter game had X number of COVID cases. The Verona game had more cases than the Inter game, but the Verona game went on and the Inter game got canceled.
There's nothing to
So
make sense anymore,
that's my
Steve.
indigestion. You cannot get your rules straight. You cannot get your league straight. I don't want to repeat this again, but I have no choice to. If Serie A, La Lega Calcio, Italy in itself don't get their shit together, we will not be watching Serie A 10 years from now?
It's a sad state
Okay,
of
10 years.
affairs.
My dream is to sit down at a bar, have no work obligations whatsoever, and watch soccer all day in peace. Have a game of cards, have a couple of beers. Like the old men, Vinny. We know we're
Yeah,
from East End, RDP. We know what's going on. We've been in bars longer than we've probably known
that's our
most
life
of our,
goals, Steve. Yeah.
that's our, I want to do that. And I'm scared that if the Serie A continues like this, I'm not going to be able to do that.
We're gonna have to be streaming it on YouTube or something. Well, I will say one thing though, Steve. If you look at cases throughout the teams, I'm gonna put a bit of blame on team management because if a team like Milan, that okay, before game was 4 total, Inter a couple here, the other one's a couple here, and guys like Salernitana have 11 players, 10 players. There's a bit of blame to be put to like responsibility on the mat. What are these players doing, right? So if you have teams that have 3, 4, okay, you manage, but you have a team that gets 7, 8, 9. Come on, like well, what the train? No, there's something. There's a lack of communication somewhere, and maybe a bit of blame on the team management. That's just my personal opinion, but whatever. Happy. Oh, by the way, we from Andre, yes, from the Mother Russia, and we had Steve, our first from Barbados at the beginning of beginning of. I think it's a bit warmer there than it is
A bit
over here.
warmer.
Udinese, Sassuolo, Steve, another 6-goal thriller here. Sassuolo just. What can I say with Steve?
Yeah, I watched that game, and I was very impressed with Scamacca.
And I saw you tweeted something about his neck.
Yeah, he has the longest neck in Serie A, guaranteed. But not only that, I was impressed because he came in as a substitute and really changed the way Sassuolo were already playing. Was dangerous from outside the box, was annoying to play when he was inside the box, held up the ball for his teammates. He seemed very interesting. Now, of course, being myself, pessimistic Steve, my first question is, why does he not start for Sassuolo? I don't know enough about him, why he's not starting. Number two, would this be that type of Piantek transfer where if he does go to a bigger team, he's going to shit the bed and he's going to just be another guy with a whole bunch of tattoos? I'm not 100% convinced because he looked like someone who had a little bit of fire underneath that ass.
So, 5 goals there. Sassuolo trashing Empoli, who has been pretty good, Empoli, but a great game. I caught half of the game in some of the highlights. Very entertaining game. Anything to add before we move to Napoli?
Yeah, 5-1 is a bit harsh on Empoli. I think Empoli as a team in itself are doing very well. They were in the game until the red card. I don't know what happened. It seems like once Empoli gets a bit down, it's very hard for them to get back into the game, and they just let in a whole bunch of goals just because they're just continuously with their foot on the pedal. They're consistently trying to press. Even with a man down, they're still trying to press. So the scoreline doesn't really justify the game that was
The
played between
performance.
those two teams.
Napoli did exactly what needed to be done to get the 3 points and a snooze fest. Insigne, let's take a little. Let's talk about.
Let's give some praise to Petagna
Yes,
for the
Petagna.
heavy guy who can do half a bicycle kick at least.
On a side note, Steve, let's talk about it. TFC, Insigne.
It's a big move for MLS.
A huge move for MLS, but do you think he's going to fall into the Jovinko curse?
No, Jovinko was okay at MLS.
No, I mean more like national team exposure. How he
That's
felt
up to him. That's up to him in Italy. If Italy have their blinders on, and he is up there in age. After Insigne had a tremendous Euro. Was
Yes, he did.
really dynamic. Was really fired up. This year is the year of the, it's the after Euro downer. I find that he lost a bit of passion. I think a little bit this contract thing where Napoli didn't want to give him the raise that he was looking for. And at a certain point, it settles into Insigne's mindset where I'm not going to be that bandiera that's going to play for Napoli till the end. I'm going to have to move. And I'm pretty sure TFC was not the first place that he was looking for or looking to.
But when you
But
get that
when they
money in
show
front of
up
you,
with a contract like that, guys, you know, everybody's, oh, you stupid. This guy isn't. Guys, this sets up his family for a very long time. There's not a lot of teams that could afford a salary like that.
yeah,
Let alone, that the MLS has an embargo or blocks the free spending of their clubs. If the MLS would be a little bit intelligent and say, you know what? While our brothers in Europe are having financial problems paying their players, if we just open up the floodgates and MLS starts flashing some cash, the quality and the talent of the league would jump significantly. Significantly. Because there's not a lot of players that are going to be paid that much. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and I know people are going to go crazy on me, but I think that salary that they posted, I don't know what if it was net. I'm still not even 100% sure if it was in euros. So
9.5. I read somewhere. The
look,
pasta.
again, it's much more money than he was gonna get. However, you dice it up with the bonus that covers what he's gonna lose. We have to remember in North America they report the salaries gross.
Yeah,
In Europe, they report on the salaries net. So,
it's getting big money.
again,
Let's just leave
it's
it at
still
that.
getting big money. It's just I would love to know the exact amount.
I'm sure we'll come out one time, and so that was our little side note there. But let's get back to it. Stevie P, how many minutes do you need to score 3 goals against a team that's on a high? 7 minutes. I called you. I called you at that time. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have so much fun when they had tied it up 3-3, and they had just scored 4-3 at that point. And Steve, I don't know how broken a team must be to let a 3-1 lead and then even missing a penalty in the end to tie it up. Steve, that's a complete mental breakdown. And it's not that Juventus was fantastic. Steve. Juventus was the Juve we've seen since the beginning of the year. Great goal by Dybala, the way he curled it in. A healthy comeback to Chiesa. I think he's going to be out for the whole season, saying maybe for the next 6 months to 8 months
Oh
for the
yeah,
20 CL.
we're gonna see Chiesa only next year, if at that.
And shout out to Derek that he already was in the group. He's like, yeah, that's a torn
Well,
ACL. And Dr. Derek, he knew exactly.
Dr. Derek was on point, man, fast. It was like, oh, that's an ACL. Wow.
But
We went from he has to get substituted to he's not going to be playing any of Italy's qualifying games.
So, wow, like how do you think a Roma fan felt at this? It's like,
oh, there's a fantastic clip, and I think I shared it with the group, or it was shared in the Milan chat group, of two guys who went ape shit crazy for 8 minutes. 8 minutes of beautiful, heartfelt, emotional, screaming, yelling. My type of fans, my type of guys really let their heart out and how damaged they are as Roma fans. And they're damaged, guys.
That's a bad loss to take, Steve. And I don't know. People were talking about whatchamacallit, that maybe Mourinho, get rid of Mourinho. I don't think that's a solution right now. I don't think getting rid of Mourinho is not going to accomplish anything. But there's a lot of problems at Roma. We talked about there's problems at Juve, obviously, and again, Juve just I'm saying it's not like Juve. Oh my God, they deserve to win. Look how much they dominated Roma. They just had a complete mental breakdown. And Yeah, Romanistas. Yeah, we had a mental breakdown too in 2000 and 2005 in the
Well, look at
Champions League.
it's just proof that, but the stage is completely different, right?
Yeah,
We're in the finals of a
no, but they
Champions
want to
League.
compare, Steve. They want to
Yeah, but
compare.
Roma fans will never get to the final of a Champions League. So that's besides the point. Let's get this very obvious with that. There is mental breakdowns, and they played for 65 some odd minutes, a good game, and Juve still has problems, guys.
Yeah,
All the Juventini that think that everything is cured, guys, you have something coming from you. You lost your best player to injury. That best player is going to be hard to replace because the guys who were on the pitch before that didn't do you any favors.
Morata is not going anywhere now. That's for
No,
sure.
Morata was not going anywhere anyways because they can't find or can't afford another striker. Now you're missing Chiesa, so you still have this problem because you're not gonna come back from and we said the same thing when Milan did this to Juve.
Hmm.
You're not if you don't improve your squad, you cannot come back from 3 goals down against an Italian Serie A team very often. It
No.
will not happen 2 times in a season. I'll
No.
be very shocked if it does, but it will not happen that one team will come back in 2 different games after being 2 goals down to win the match, And they scored 3 consecutive goals where Roma was just frazzled. Like this was one of the times where I say I think the soccer coaches would have loved to have a timeout. You need a timeout.
Yeah.
There's something going on, splash water in their faces. And this, as a manager, is probably the most frustrating thing because you don't know what to do.
There's no answer.
There's no answer here, guys.
And Mourinho was no emotions.
The
It was just
field was completely tilted in Juve's favor. They went after it. Credit to them. They came back. They won the game. Then you have the reverse drama where you have an opportunity to tie the game.
that I think that was even more like they would have walked out to say well, we fucked up, but at least we got a point out of that. But Pellegrini with a fantastic free kick from that goal, and then you go
and he took a terrible penalty shot.
He did because he was already on the floor. Szczesny was already on the floor. I don't get why he went to shoot over there. Anyways, when is Spinazzola going to be available? I have no idea. Even him, he's going to be out for a couple of months. But
Achilles he should be probably coming back soon. But that's another terrible injury. I saw who was Mancini going to replace Chiesa with. If Zaniolo remembers how to play football, he'd be someone who would be a good substitute there. And if not, you'll see, Pellegrini, penalty shots aside, because that was a terrible penalty shot. In a chat with my friends, I'm comfortable enough to say, and people will laugh and they'll mock me, but I'm comfortable to say that I would be able to take a better spot kick than 50% of the Serie A players today.
I've seen those spot kicks live, Steve. It's a few years ago, but you got that skills. You got the skills.
And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think these guys are overthinking the penalty shot. Keepers are getting much better at it. They're able to look at your plant foot and see where you're going to be going.
But the mental breakdown, Steve, is psychologically in his head. We just fucking, we just got 3 against us 7 minutes. Everything's relying on me. And what happens to that kind of pressure if you're in a World Cup situation, in a semifinals, in a final situation? So, call it. I shared the World Cup 2006 BBC feed to the Patreon people, and John Motson, he says it. He goes, call it a flip of the coin, or call it a test of nerves. These are the penalty shots, and I find that so genius. Like flip of the coin or a test of nerves, because that's exactly what it is.
I know, but. You have to understand, Vinny. Let's put it into context too, right? These guys are playing a sport as a job.
True.
They need to be able to, the sports psyche of it all has to come into play a bit. you have to be able to separate the fact that you are financially set if you're at this level of footballing. I don't know. I again, it's easy for me to be a Monday morning quarterback, but again, I'm confident enough to say that I would be able to, with a little bit of, not I'm just saying, I need to just shed a little bit of weight,
Just a little bit.
just a little bit of weight. I would be able to take a better spot kick than 50% of the Serie A players. I'm comfortable in saying that.
I like it. I like it. And looking at, actually, sorry, Steve. What happened to Fiorentina today, Steve?
They got
4-0.
demolished.
They got demolished against Torino. I was not expecting at all. But even with a loss, Steve, Fiorentina is still there. With a game in hand at 32 points. You have Inter obviously winning against. Actually, we forgot to talk about Inter Lazio. How did I skip that one? Wow, good for me. Inter Lazio, Steve. What you think about that game? I found it balanced at the beginning, right? I didn't think that Inter were like super dominant on the game itself, but I think it just came back to Lazio, especially after that when it came 1-1. I'm like, okay, and then it just they after that 2-1. I don't know if it's Inter closing down the game very very well. Um, Hakan not being on the pitch, I don't know, but
No, Inter were much better than Lazio. The scary part is that you're able to win this game, and your two center backs are the ones that are scoring the two goals for you.
two center back scoring.
Bastone with a fantastic shot, raso terra. Skriniar coming in again. Lazio is also another one of those fragile mental teams where, after going down 1-0, they get a gift from Handanovic and Co. and the Fry and whatever they wanted to do on that ball. And again, it's just not enough, and they can't build on it, and they can't do much more than get into the final third and have just a half-assed job at trying to get a chance. But it's tough to say that as a Milan fan that Inter really looks good, and they don't need their strikers to always come up clutch, because it seems like they have someone come up clutch every game. If I'm not mistaken, I read today that they are the team that has the most variety of scorers, the most players to have contributed with a goal. So that's something where you have to tip your hat to that, because everything is going their way.
It's we're gonna get into it because the questions are gonna come up. We're gonna touch on it, but some people saying Lazio didn't show up to win; they just showed up to play. That's a fair analogy as well there. Milinkovic Savic too. It's like, I don't know. He doesn't seem like the Milinkovic Savic that was supposedly getting 110 million.
I know, Vinny, but it's you know what, I agree and I disagree, and I'll tell you why.
See,
when you're playing alone against 11 players, it's tough to be great all the time. And in that midfield, he's playing alone. But if you see and you watch Milinkovic Savic himself, his touch is fantastic. His holding up play as a midfielder is fantastic. He did miss an easy sitter.
Yeah, he did.
In the second half. So it's tough. It's tough to judge a player like that when he's playing with, a la Tommy Time, a bunch of cadavers, right? And Lazio, besides Milinkovic Savic, has no one in the midfield. Whatever the Laziali want to say, he is their midfield.
And on that, Steve, let's take a quick look on the standings here. So nothing has changed. Juventus, we like to laugh and say they have problems. They're still there. Fifth, 38 points. Atalanta at 41. We have Inter, Atalanta with game in hands. You have Fiorentina as well. But upcoming games are coming up, and I know some of the questions do revolve around, the Scudetto and all that stuff. And we're already 50 minutes in, so I'm going to get into those questions unless you had something to add about the games this week. I know we got Coppa Italia tomorrow against Genoa and Sheva. And there's been talks to maybe Sheva. They're not too sure what if they're going to keep him or not. But anyways, I feel bad for him, but we shall see tomorrow. Anything to add until we get into the questions?
No, you can go into the questions. I just remembered my utter indigestion.
All right. We'll get to those soon enough. Husney saying, Happy New Year, Vinny and Steve. 3 wins in a row and at least 3 goals a game. Looks like we're on a run. Some negatives are still Salamakers and Diaz, not what we expect from them. Would you give them a pass for this season?
No one gets a pass.
Even if we win the Scudetto?
No, because you're not going to win the Scudetto with these players.
Okay, so hypothetically speaking, we managed to win the Scudetto. Do you give them a pass?
No, we obviously need to up the. This is that's the time where a team cannot be satisfied with what they've accomplished.
I agree on that one. David says, straight to the question: Leao on the right and Rebic on the left. Yes or no, and why?
Absolutely yes. No, because it's very risky.
That is exactly what I was going to say.
We don't have, not that we don't have enough depth. There are 2 types of players that like to be on the left cut and to the right. What happens is you're taking one of them and you're putting him on the offside where he may or may not perform. I agree that I would suit my best 11 players. But at the sacrifice of maybe losing or having one of my players lose confidence, and if I do need him later on, I don't have him at his peak, it's a bit of a risk. A right wing is, we're Milan guys. Again, I love to say it, we're not Arsenal. We need a right wing. And we need a right wing, and we need to address it with someone who's comfortable in playing right wing. Not Salchicha Maker, who we bought as a right back and now transformed him into a makeshift right wing.
Or Messias playing on the wing when he's supposed to be set.
I see a lot of tweets, Messias, I'm happy we got him. Yeah, it's a great story. It's a great story. But no one's going to care about that story if we finish second place again.
Very true. I liked your question, David. Fabio, hello, boys. How quickly would you put Theo next week if we had to take an early lead? Take him out? Or would you sit him for the game to avoid any possibility of him picking up a yellow? And if we had to choose, which game would you rather he be missing? The Juve or Inter game? So I know Tonali got the yellow card, so he's missing the next game. And everybody he's missing Spezia. And everybody's like, come on, Theo, get a yellow card, get a yellow card. And
no. Look, guys, we can't do this. There's a bit of tactics behind it. There's a bit of cattiveria where you want to try to get that card, and guys, we need to beat Spezia first. Let's face it, guys. We're it's game by game. We just saw Fiorentina went on a fantastic run, showed up against the Torino that did absolutely nothing all year. Have been very underwhelming, and they let a 4-egg.
I can't disagree with that, Steve. But if you
we've played before, guys, we've played before
without him, but
we've played before without him.
So
and unfortunately, sorry to cut you off.
No,
but unfortunately, Theo Hernandez against Inter is a liability.
Yeah, because we can't. If we just take a look at the last 2 games, that's one thing. But he has been a liability, as you were saying. And live, Fade to Black, new Patreon member. Thank you very much. Milanista Indonesia, we got all over the world. Love it. Thank you for joining Patreon. Next question. But if you had to miss him on one of the games, Steve, against Inter or against Juve?
Look, again, I always, people, they have to understand that I want the best players to play against the best teams. if I would have to choose one, I think I would want him to miss maybe the Juve game. I would want him at Inter
Mm.
because again, and people are gonna say you're contradicting yourself. No, because I want my best 11 and includes Theo Hernandez to play Inter's best 11, and at the end, whoever wins wins, and there's no excuses. We don't have Milan Twitter saying, "Oh, but if we would have had Theo Hernandez." Against Inter, we have to be smart, where they're one of the teams that has figured out that our left-hand side is a side that can be attacked.
Yeah.
Because with Leao there and Theo there, if you're making them play defense, they're not playing offense. So that's for us to adjust. But I want him there for the Inter match because I don't want any excuses. And against Juve, I'm less worried, especially now with them losing Chiesa, who usually is playing on that right hand side.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to be someone who's scoreboard watching, but just to answer the question, it has to be the Juve game.
To Ryan saying, "Hey guys, happy New Year. Hope you had a good holiday. I'm so glad with the way the team overpowered our opponents to get the 2 wins so far. It feels great to have our attack strong again. However, are you guys concerned with the performance of Brahim? He seems to have completely lost his mojo, cannot impact the plays at all. He just loses the ball whenever he gets it. Do you think Maldini should get another person in January?" I don't. To get I know we spoke about what we thought about Diaz and how he's dropped from the face of the earth, but to get somebody else to replace him, I'm not sure that would be the right decision, especially maybe if he's down on his luck and then you bring in somebody. What is that going to do to his character? And a lot of people, oh, well, it's a fighting competition. It's not like the good old days. These, mentally you might take it bad, and we do have
Snowflakes.
we do have like the kind of players that could go play into that position. So no, I wouldn't get somebody to replace. I would give, when available, give Maldini minutes in that position there. Steve, how about you? Would you get somebody?
Look, when I get someone in the winter, if I have to choose, I'd want them to address right wing and center back. But I'm willing to give him a chance to get his stuff straightened out and find that Diaz that we saw for the first couple of games, because I think he deserves it. I think he had this bout with COVID. Now, are we blaming COVID? Is it because
No,
he's
it
tired?
just happens to
No,
be.
I don't wanna. I don't wanna blame anybody, guys. The Daniele Maldini experiment. It's enough, guys. I don't want to hear this anymore. Daniele Maldini belongs on loan at Salernitana, Sampdoria, Torino,
Yeah, Timo, yeah,
Genoa, somewhere where he can get minutes and not have this pressure. And then they say, yeah, but Samuel Castillejo said that if anybody, who's the most talented player, Daniele Maldini. Yeah, no shit, Samuel Castillejo said that. This is because his father, Paolo Maldini, signs his check. Me too, I would have said it was Daniele Maldini. But
we haven't seen enough.
We haven't seen enough. It's years we've been saying it, that he needs to go out on loan. He's not going out on loan. We sent Pogbega out on loan instead of him, and now we still didn't fix this cam problem that we've had.
Definitely, totally agree with you on that one. Gio, keep up the great work, guys. I'm just ready for Stevie P to speak straight facts. Also, I'm glad to see Theo back in form. He needs to play like this for the remainder of the season. I feel we need to get another playmaker to put pressure on Diaz. What are your thoughts? Well, we just answered that one there. So thanks, Gio, and hope you slept in today. Paulie H, good evening, Vinny and Steve. It looks like between Milan and Kessie have Milan and Kessie have broken down. Kessie will be a big loss. So how do we go about replacing him? We could put a salad maker type player in there to plug a hole. How can we win the league if we lose one or two key players each year? Forza Milan. Well, he's saying that it's broken down, but I've read differently that supposedly nobody came forward, and now all of a sudden it's like it's reopened. I think the fact too, Steve, The fact that Tio came out and says, yeah, the talks are ongoing. The players, yeah, we're ongoing. We're talking, and supposedly too that who else? What they're saying, Tio Hernandez, Benassa, and they're talking like everybody seems to be wanting to renew. And if we need to believe what we've seen so far from Milan is that something special is happening here, and you need those core players. So again, we'll believe it when we see it, but do you believe anything about Kessie? Did you put a bit of truth into that one? Because nobody's come forward.
No, I don't believe anybody.
You don't believe anybody?
No. If he really wanted to sign, he would have signed already.
But if we do Miss Kessie, it's not a band-aid solution we're going to need, because that guy contributed a lot to the last two teams. So it's going to have to be not a substitute, but actually a replacement. Gil is saying, hey, fellas, been a while. Hope you're well. Does Milan still need a right wing, or is Macias enough for this season?
Do you really want me to answer this question?
I don't know if Gillis is trying to troll you as DVB, but I think he just wants you to scream it out.
He wants me. Gillis works for the company that furnishes my blood pressure medication.
He just needs you to scream it out loud and say it.
What do we need, Steve? A fucking right wing, Gillis. We need a fucking right wing.
Oh, that's gonna be on a shirt soon. That's gonna be. Speaking of shirts, the link is in there, guys, of Milan Club World, and take a look at all their stuff. They always got like fantastic t-shirts. Taking it over to Twitter.
Before we go to Twitter,
yes, sorry.
Mike Cappy, the Juventine that checks in all the time, man, greatly appreciated. We love that you come on and you interact in the live. He came late, but he wants us to speak about the Napoli fans that were racist towards Keane at J Stadium.
And Serie A
did nothing. So, Mikey, first we're going to start with, wow, are we very surprised that Serie A did nothing? I myself am not, Mikey.
They did something for Roma.
Yeah.
They did something for Roma, screaming at Ibrahimovic, and that ties into my indigestions. But go on. Like, I don't know why they did nothing, and it's surprising at J Stadium.
They were able to find the other guy who did it to Mike Mangione. Remember?
Yeah.
That guy posted it on social media like a donkey.
Yeah.
And it was easy to catch. Now, again, we want to blame Serie A for everything. If they don't catch the person who did it, or if they don't have like real proof,
or Steve, what happens in the EPL? Every time it happens, what happens to all the fans around them? They're all fucking pointing.
They're all pointing.
Yeah. In Italy,
they're
and that's the mentality. Unfortunately, guys, that's the mentality. Mind your own fucking business, and that's it, right? Because if these people were outed, because you want to talk about racism will never be completely eradicated from sports. I hope so one day, but I need to be real. But if these are little things that need to be done, but Serie A not doing anything, are we surprised? No, because it's just sometimes they do, sometimes they do something good, and what, to Brandon's thing, that's my indigestion. It's actually the same thing, indigestion and Brioshki. My indigestion was, Roma fans to racist chants to Ibra, like of all people, like to Ibra, and then throwing the whatchamacallit, the flares, and to that my Brioshki is Mourinho. We like to laugh and make fun of him, or like love to hate him, but Mourinho was there, and he heard it, and he was just trying to calm everybody down and tell everybody to shut the fuck up and not do anything like that. But in the end, they got 10,000 for the racist chants, 5,000 for the flares. Just complete unnecessary. But I'm not saying it's rare. You don't see it often, but a coach going over and trying to calm the fans down. But I think that was very full class from Mourinho. But
I agree.
To the last, so that was Gillis. And to Twitter, Forza Domi says, with Conte and Caldara out, what's the status of Castillejo going, and what's the best track for Daniel Benlini's development? Will he get minutes, or should he go on loan? We just spoke about that, but you think Castillejo is going to go, Steve?
Well, hopefully the Sheva could buy him before he gets fired.
There we go.
Because it was Genoa that was rumored to want him. But
to
again,
want him.
if we look at the right wing situation,
I
that
wouldn't
he
get rid
gets
of him.
sold or he doesn't get sold, we're still not stopping. Oh my God, what's this guy doing? What's this guy doing?
Who? Who are you talking? No, that's the guy that. That's the guy that.
Cologero. Per l'amor di Dio. We've suffered for so long without a right wing.
He wants to give us Candreva.
Your solution to get me a fucking right wing is Candreva.
I think that's Mario's friend. He's an interista, this guy.
Yeah, but Madonna mia,
Now,
Madonna.
now he's gonna. He won't. He's gonna watch all the night. Thank you.
You know what? Candreva is having a pretty good season. I think he's up there
Let's-
for leading in terms of assists. But here we need to solve this problem for many years to come. So I could retire the phrase "get me a fucking right wing," not a 1 year wonder. Or he's not even gonna be that. He's infected with the Inter's blood.
Gigi Lapatat. I love Gigi Lapatat's question, Steve. Who was your best and worst Fasobelli era signing, seeing that they are almost all gone? Best has to be Kessie, right?
Best
Steve?
one is Kessie.
Worse, I was debating Bonucci or Higuain. I know they were part of the same kind of thing, but I'm gonna have to go with Bonucci. I think Bonucci was probably the 40 million that we spent. Who else would you go as worse? Çalhanoğlu, we can't say that was the worst signing
it's not
because
the
it didn't
worst,
cost us. It didn't cost us 40 million.
No.
Caldara, Jamie saying Caldara was the worst. Caldara cost us a bit, if I'm not mistaken.
No, but I think Caldara, we got him back when we sent back Bonucci. So it didn't really cost us anything.
That's right. Ricardo Rodriguez cost us a heavy sum, did he not?
Yeah, Ricardo Rodriguez was someone there that really didn't do much, but I can't say that. And I think I agree with Dino. I think
Piontek.
I'd have to say Bilia was his worst signing.
That's a good one. Yes,
Yeah,
Bilia.
Dino. I'm gonna go with Dino.
Dino.
I saw it fast. The chat is on fire today.
Yeah,
I can't even get to what I saw, and I saw it at the corner of my eyes, and boom, I'm with Dino.
I got him. I
think
put him up there.
Bilia.
Very nice, very nice. So what else do we have? Christian
I see-
Bellini.
yeah. We have someone there with the Kalinic too. You know what? I'm gonna
Kalinic.
give him a little bit of a mulligan with the Kalinic because I don't think Kalinic was his first choice. I think he really wanted Belotti, and I think he just couldn't get that from thing. And then it was Magic Montella who said,
Commander.
"Yeah, bring me Kalinic. He's the
How did
next Ibra."
How did he ask Steve Fasobelli?
Oh my God, this guy! I don't know. He probably bamboozled him to
Un giocatore
yeah,
grandissimo. Christian Bellini, hello Vinny and Steve. After passing the 21 game marks in the Scudetto, is the Scudetto still a dream, or can it be a concrete reality that we can achieve if the team stays healthy and focused? Christian stays healthy and focused, I think so. I think it could be a concrete reality, but staying healthy is more focused. I think focused they have it, but staying healthy, I think that's the major part in there. What do you have to say to that question?
I think we're two players. We're a couple of players away. And
Who's saying Borini was a bad signing? Borini
Justin
was a
put
fast
Borini. Justin put Borini.
No.
Davies giving you a Lord Borini there.
The jack of all trades. Look at the job he did.
Stefano Gattuso's coming to your. He's coming to your rescue here. He's giving you. He was the jack of all trades. You're not going to complain with a player like that, like Borini, just to go off.
Kalinic cost us 25.
Yeah, that's a lot, man. But it's a lot. It's not a lot. It's a lot. Imagine in those times. Anyways, back to that. There, I think we're a couple of players away, guys. There's a big enough gap that Inter has had the fortune of not going through too many injuries the past couple of years, and they also have the depth. And I can't sit here and say, oh, we're just as good as Inter, because We're not. Best 11 against best 11, I think we give them a good fight, and we've been giving them a good fight.
Yeah.
But once we get past our best 11, they have more pieces that they can throw into play and do much more than we can do with the pieces that we have on our bench. And again, in the end, that's the marathon of the Scudetto race, and it's something that we can't ignore, and it's a part of it. So,
and no players in the AFCON too. That's got to go a long way as well. And last question, Steve Jan saying, do you think Milan have been punching above their weight these last 2 years, or is this team actually good?
punching above their weight.
Are we lightweight, heavyweight, lightweight champions, and we're combating with heavyweights? And
No.
Is this team really good? I think. I think the stability in a coach, not a merry-go-round of coaches. I think trying to keep a core of players year in for the last couple of years, I think is a big factor of having a team that is becoming good. That good, I wouldn't say we're that good, but sometimes, looking at Leicester City, how did they win that, that Premiership that year? It's not because they had the best players, right? And, a season is long, but do you just think we've been overachieving, over punching our weight, or
I
is
think
this team?
we've been a bit over punching. We've been a bit fortunate that, again, the same way Juventus was fortunate for all these years
Mhm.
that Milan and Inter did struggle and had pretty much an easy breezy time to the Scudetto 9 years in a row because fuck the fucking hams of Napoli, Lazio, and Roma didn't want to take advantage of their window. Uh, you know, Atalanta's a bit up and down. Now they're more up than down and pushing there. But we see from the standings after four, there's a little bit of a drop off, right? Even a team like Juve, where they had their all or nothing glory, and it exposed them for being very disorganized and not having a particular project in place on what they want to do. And you see it in those teams, right?
Mhm.
Inter, Milan, Atalanta. I'm not even going to say Napoli because I'm not sure if they have a project. But I can say comfortably here, Inter, Atalanta, and Milan had a project and are going through that project. So punching a bit over our class, yes, but you see the other teams that don't really have a concrete project, how it's very easy to slip out of the top four.
That was our last question, Steve. You wanted me to remind you. I know you sent me something. Is that for me or for me to mention?
No, I sent it to you because I needed it to be very visible. I don't know if we could play it. I don't know what YouTube does for that there, but it's a Twitter.
You want me to play it? By the way, Presidente just sent a message, Steve, that he's going to watch the ads fully without skipping to see if we could generate more money on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you, President. We're going to go from 7 cents to 9 cents. Thank you. Thank you, President. Should I take a chance?
I don't know. I think you could play it. I wanted to play it like really the actual clip. I didn't care because it's just someone else's take.
He is at the moment playing on the same level as Maldini. I mean, if you, let's cut the shit. Bastoni's better going forward, right? Defending Maldini holds an edge for now. But remember, Maldini was predominantly a left back when he was young. I mean, he was a left back most of his career. You know what I mean? So.
Hold on.
Start again.
Hold on.
I had to watch it 2-3 times.
I don't think this is from. Can you tell who's this from?
Man, I gotta
hold on. My at finally my Eglas. Okay, so
yeah, but that's not this guy's Twitter account.
Okay. So let's listen closely, people.
What do you mean I'm crazy? Bastoni is at the moment playing on the same level as Maldini. I mean, if you, Let's cut the shit. Bastoni's better going forward, right? Defending Maldini holds an edge for now.
Holds an edge.
But remember, Maldini was predominantly a left back when he was young. I mean, he was a left back most of his career. You know what I mean? So,
Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay.
What do you send me these things?
Okay. Oh, I had the same reaction as you. The first time I listened to it, I was like,
Wait, what did?
what did I hear? Like, I thought he was comparing Bastone with
To
Daniele Maldini.
Daniel, that's what I thought at the
Yeah, I
beginning.
was
I was like, okay.
whatever, young guys, and Bastoni had a good game against Lazio. That was fine. But then I think when he said Maldini was predominantly a left back, I was like, this fucking guy is talking about Paolo Maldini.
Oh, my head hurts.
I was like, oh no, I have to start all over again.
You know
So,
what
like-
the worst part? You know what the worst part about this, Steve, and it fucking pisses me off, is that idiots like this, people that like to put fuel to the fire, will get 100 times more views.
Yeah.
And listens
Oh
than
yeah.
us.
And this is my
And
this is
guys,
my
let me just say,
indigestion.
let me
Yeah.
just say one thing. Let me just say one thing. You know what, guys? It's come to my mind. We spoke about it, me and Steve. Let's try to be a bit more controversial, this and that. But in the end, we're not going to change who we are or opinions. Yes, we do, turn ourselves up to the level of 10 when we're talking on here. But stupidity like this, right? And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because these people will get 3, 4, 5, 6, 10,000 views on YouTube or on Twitter just for the sheer stupidity, right? And people will attack him, and now people are going to try to follow him to see how much more stupid things he's going to say instead of listening not just to us. There's so many great content people out there, and we're not doing this for the money. We're not doing, well, thank you for Presidente giving us an extra 2 cents in the ads, but holy fuck, man, it's just very frustrating to see. And I know we're not going to get 10,000 views, 20,000 views a show, but it's because what? Because sometimes we don't give you your same opinions that you want to hear. So now you want to trash here. Sometimes even the comments on YouTube, it's called a fucking discussion. So if you guys want to go listen to these idiots or these people that have no idea, he just fucking compared Bastoni to Maldini. That Maldini might have an edge on Bastoni. Mannaia tutti santi Gesù
No,
Cristo la Madonna.
defending, just defending. He might have an edge on Bastoni defending. That's very important. So, guys, I brought this up.
Oh, my
So,
head hurts.
Vinny loves to get my gears turning. I thought it would be nice to start off the year with me getting his gears turned up. And it's just that Vinny said it in a nutshell. I'm not gonna change. Vinny's not gonna change. You tune into Milan Weekly Podcast because we say what we want to say when we want to say it, and we have a discussion, and we can admit when we were wrong, and we can admit when we were right, and that's the beauty of Milan Weekly Podcast. You will not get a take like that from this show. I can guarantee it. So tell your friends, smash the subscribe button. Hit the likes, guys. Give us those extra
I
cents on
stopped
YouTube.
drinking for a week, and now you have to give me shit like this. I don't even have fucking alcohol over here. Jesus Christ. Anyways, but the guys, yes, tomorrow, Coppa Italia game. Thank you very much for about 65 live viewers at one point. Thank you for watching, liking. Oh, by the way, you see that button, guys, on the other side? Go fucking subscribe. Click on the subscribe button. It's going to give you the notification. It's going to give you this. Presidente needs that extra 2 or 3 cents for the YouTube videos. And, he likes to... I had to tell him, by the way, Steve, that we got another, after 2 years, we got another like $97 from YouTube. And he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't notice it because, the bank account, $97 deposit. What does it mean there? That little that bank account, a little amount there. But thank you for everybody, guys. Yes, like the video, keep on commenting. We appreciate every single one of you. And again, welcome to our brand new Patreon members. Did he give us? Hold on a second. Did he give me a full name? Fade to Black. All right, so Fade to Black. Welcome, and take a look down the post, the WhatsApp group. Stay tuned for more therapy sessions. Anything to add? Actually, AC Sergio Francis would agree with that guy. No, Francis
No, he
Francis
didn't.
would
He's the
never.
first person I sent it to. AC Sergio. He's not. He's never
Francis
gonna
is a
agree
good
to
one.
that.
He likes. He's another one that plays the character, but no, Francis is a good one. Anything else, DVP?
Guys, ovunque sempre. Forza
Forza
Milan.
Milan. Have yourselves a good night, guys, and till next time.